right, here we go. David L.A. Rosson, food law, food science. Got this little gig here for you. Looking at Appendix 1 2018 version versus Appendix 1 2024 version. It was recently updated. I kind of like the old version, I guess maybe because I got used to it. But I think, the intent is, I think the intent is to make you better with this new guidance. So I got this little deal. I'm going to go through it with you, hopefully make you understand a little bit more. This Appendix 1 is part of the guidance for the whole hazard analysis, risk-based preventive control for human food guidance. So it's part of it. So yeah, if you're conducting the analysis, you're going to be wanting to use this thing. So yeah, check this out. David L.A. Rosson. Thanks for joining the presentation. Hopefully you subscribe. Trying to get the word out on some food law, food science, and might even talk about some food. So just real quick, in case you're saying what the heck's a guidance? Well, guidance is basically recommendations. Kind of the FDA's dumbed down version of how to comply with the regulations. So it's just reading the regulations sometimes will kill you, put you right to sleep. So this guidance document, the one I'm covering today, and others like it, are intended to help. What's interesting about it is not only you and your business, but to help its employees implement the regulation. So one thing that's important to remember that these are not the regulations. They're not legally binding, but they're what some might say are the best practices. So I want you to remember they're like a roadmap. Roadmap's one way to get there. GPS another way to get there. So make sure you pick the best way. So these guidance documents are meant to help you. So real quick, a brief history on the FDA guidance documents. Started out pretty much with the Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act. Came out with guidance to help businesses understand and comply with the new regulation there, particularly for product labeling and food safety standards. And then over time, it included guidance for GMPs. And then again, through time, came out with more specific guidance to help you identify hazards with particular types of foods. And then guidance with emerging technologies like genetically engineered foods or genetically modified ingredients, medical devices, biologics. So the FDA kind of keeps up with whatever the regulations have to be designed for. Guidance documents are also designed to help you comply with those regulations. So just a little history on guidance documents. So this presentation is about Appendix 1. It's a guidance document within a larger guidance document. So Appendix 1 is part of the Hazard Analysis Risk-Based Preventive Control for Human Food Guidance. Now this guidance is to help PCQIs, or Preventive Control Qualified Individuals, conduct their hazard analysis. Now this guidance document, Appendix 1, is not for seafood or fish and fishery products. It's not for juice products, although you might have a juice ingredient. It's not for meat and poultry products. It's for all the other products out there, pretty much. So these tables in Appendix 1 will help you identify hazards that you should consider while conducting your hazard analysis. And even in the regulation, when you look at 21 CFR 117, subpart C, where it covers the hazard analysis, it says you should use information of known or reasonably foreseeable hazards. And that's what this guidance is. So hang in there with me as I go through the different versions. I got into this because there's different versions of it, and like I was saying, I like the old one a little bit better, but this new one I think is really intended to make you better. So let's check it out. All right, so here we go. I'm going to let you be the judge, which one's better. I'm going to put both of these attachments in the description so you can check them out. But when back in the old days, about 6-7 years ago now. This originally came out and released in the public 2018 and went through a whole proposal process and all that starting in 2016. But ultimately, we ended up with this Appendix 1 document with a series of tables. 3 tables, basically. Tables 1A through 1Q, tables 2A through 2Q, and tables 3A through 3Q. So this is the 2018 version. Make sure you check it out. I'm going to give you a brief description on how to use it. And then I'm going to get into the 2024 version, show you how to use that one. So here we go. So tables 1A through 1Q focus on biological hazards. Tables 2A through 2Q focus on chemical hazards. And tables 3A through 3Q focus on process-related hazards. Now, the Series 1 are biological hazards and ingredients. Series 2, chemical hazards and the ingredients. And the Series 3 tables are the hazards that are associated with specific processes. So what you need to do is find your food category and subcategory on the table. Once you find the subcategory, make sure you take a look at the storage conditions as well. Ambient, refrigerated, frozen, though, that'll matter. And then you can then start identifying your hazards. Once you identify your hazards, you'll see there's some X mark for the hazards. And one of the nice parts of the table, it also gives you on the last column, you'll see example products. So I'm going to do over the next few slides, I'm going to look up on the old school 2018 version, I'm going to look up pizza dough, pizza crust, show you how and where I found it on those 3 tables. Follow me as I do this. So I need to find my category. I'm in the bacon business. I do pizza crust. All right, so I do an unbaked, ready to bake pizza crust. It's refrigerated. I found it on table 1A, example number 1A. It's subcategory, you can see pizza, pie crust, refrigerated conditions, and then it fits the example products on the end there. So I did some little circles for you so you can see. And then you can see the X's mark the spot. I have E. coli, Salmonella, and Listeria are going to be pathogens of concern for the pizza. Let's go to chemical next. Let's check it out. So I need to go to the chemical tables, which is the Series 2 table. So table 2A, again, for my same example, pizza crust, unbaked, bakery item. There's different categories of food categories. So you're going to find your category. That I'm doing a baked product right now, a bakery good. It's a ready-to-bake pizza crust. Example 2A, 1A. I see I need to consider mycotoxins in flour, right? Mycotoxins in the flour. Check that out. And last but not least, this is where it gets pretty hot and heavy here. As you can see, I pick up quite a few hazards. So I need to find out my process-related hazards for my pizza crust. Again, same category, subcategory, refrigerated. I get pathogenic bacteria growth and toxin formation due to time temperature abuse. I got environmental pathogen concerns. I got undeclared allergens. I got allergen cross contact. I got chemical additives or food intolerant substances and metal to consider. That's a lot of stuff. So I had 3 biological, 1 chemical, and 6 process-related hazards. Man, 10 things I need to consider for my pizza crust when I'm conducting my analysis. Remember, 21 CFR 117 subpart C says I need to conduct the hazard analysis. It needs to be written, regardless of the outcome. So it also tells me in the regulation that I should be using a table or information, like this, information of known or reasonably foreseeable hazards in these tables. But again, this is the 2018 version. I'm about to show you how to use the 2024 version. It's a little more challenging, but I think it might make you better. Let's take a look. All right, so hopefully you got the basics on that give you the 10-minute tutorial on the 2018 version. Now I'm going to give you another 10-minute tutorial on the 2024 edition. So again, it's a little different. Got to work a little bit. So I got some slides I'm going to go through here with you, and then ultimately I'd like to go through that same pizza crust example using the new guidance here. But there's only two series of tables on this one. Remember, the other one had 3 series of tables. So we lost the tables for the process-related hazards. So a facility needs to go through all the different categories, and I'll show you that here shortly. There's different categories of process-related hazards, and then ask yourself, get a mirror, hey, does this apply to us? Is this something we should consider as significant or address within our hazard analysis, perhaps create some strategies for controls on a preventive control type of document. So yeah, I'm going to go through how to use this thing. Again, there's 2 series, 1 and 2, 1A through 1P, 2A through 2P. Let's take a look. Yeah, so on the next few slides, I'll give you step-by-step instructions. The instructions will help you navigate the tables of the biological chemical hazards. And those are sections A1-10 or A1-11. Understand how to evaluate marked hazards for your specific food products. Identify which hazards require preventive controls based on your facility and ingredients. And the goal is to make the guide easier for you here. Hopefully this 2024 I can help you use it a little bit better. So 1A through 1P outline biological hazards relevant to 16 food groups, 16 different groups. So the hazards are marked with an X in the tables to identify what we call now the known or reasonably foreseeable hazards, aka potential hazards. So you want to then evaluate that. Determine, is this hazard a risk? So there's a lot of hazards out there, but is the hazard a risk? Is it significant? Will it cause injury, illness, or death if not controlled? So if it will, then we need to decide which of those hazards that have been revealed to us require a preventive control. Similar structure, but the next series of tables focuses on chemical hazards for the same 16 food groups. In 12 of the 16 food groups, tables identify hazards marked with an X for the known or reasonably foreseeable hazards. You're going to want to evaluate those hazards, determine if they're significant. If they are significant, determine a preventive control. But there are 4 of the groups where we need to dig in a little bit deeper, and we need to look at the ingredients. So the facility should refer to the tables most applicable for the specific ingredients, and then evaluate those hazards. So that's a significant change from the 2018 version right there too. So we're gonna go through that pizza crust one here in a minute, which is a good one. I need to know a little bit more about the ingredients, but we'll just assume it's got flour, water, yeast, salt. Maybe we'll throw some oil in there just to mess with it a little bit. So we gotta see how that works with the new series of tables and see what's happening. So again, 1, 2. Let's move on now, because we got to then figure out how to do the process stuff here. So there is no dedicated table for process-related hazards in the 2024 guidance. These are, again, considered unique to each facility. They depend on the specific processes. Are we heating, cooling, packaging? Our history, our GMPs, our sanitation, our training. But we need to get into the biological, chemical, physical hazards that are associated with our processes. So there's a considerable amount of guidance. Section A17 provides specific advice for how to identify process-related hazards. A list there. I'm going to go through some of those on the next few slides, kind of show you what that looks like. You need to identify the hazards and then, of course, evaluate the likelihood of their occurrence. And then if they are likely to occur, then to prepare some type of or develop a preventive control. So this is going to be more customized approach for your facility, not as generic as the 2018. Again, I'm going to do that pizza crust one. You'll see what I'm talking about. So remember, we had tables on the last time in 2018. Here in 2024, we don't have tables. We have a list of things we need to kind of go through and see if they're relevant to our facility, and if so, determine what preventive controls we need. So here's the categories the FDA has recommended we consider. Quite a few of them. I'm not going to read every single one of them to you, but you'll find these in the guide. A1-7 starts covering them. A1-7, you'll see as you make it through there. So yeah, bacterial pathogens due to survival lethal treatment, pathogens, time temperature control, pathogens due to poor formulation. You see it's got all the pathogens, and it gets into chemical, like environmental pathogens. Oh, sorry, not that's still pathogens, yes. Undeclared allergens, chemical hazard due to formulation, gets into medical, metal, glass, physical hazards you see. So our job is to go through each one of these categories here, and there's some help in the guide to determine which one would apply to us. We're gonna try to do that for the pizza crust one here in a minute, like I told you. See how we do that. Go through each one. All right, let's do that. So when I look up my pizza crust on tables 1, series tables 1A 2024 happens to be the same bakery items under the category bread, biscuits, rolls. You see pizza there. Ready to bake, same category as last time, refrigerated. You see how it consolidates a little bit, refrigerated, frozen. Same organisms of concern, E. coli, Salmonella, Listeria. So pretty consistent there. Guidance. Let's keep going. All right, so here's where the 2024 guidance starts to flip the script on you a bit. So when I go to food group 2A and look up the pizza under the bakery items, I see it does not include a table, but it tells me you look them up, okay? You figure it out, okay? So if your product contains, different ingredients, then we got to go to different tables. So if we got chocolate, table 2D. If we got eggs, table 2G. If we got wheat flour, 2J. We got to check out the different tables. So I said we had water, yeast, flour, salt, and oil. Let's see if I can figure that out with these new tables, what my hazards might be. Follow me now. So our main ingredient's flour. So flour is covered on 2J. You look up the grains, non-rice. You see example number 1, 2J1. I pick up mycotoxins and pesticides. There is a footnote right there. There's a footnote, little number 1. Make sure you check out all the footnotes, see if that's relevant to you. So you can see there when I look up my flour, the major ingredient would be flour, water, yeast, salt, pretty close to the same, and then oil. If we did oil, I just put oil in there just to give us something to look up. But water, needs to meet EPA standards. Salt, a low risk item, but we need to look up the flour, and let's look up the oil next just to see what that looks like. So let's take a look. So again, using the 2024 guidance, I have to look up on the table 1. It was pretty easy. Looked up the pizza crust. It gave me my pathogens. Now on table 2, it said no, you look them up. So I looked up the flour. Now I'm looking up the water. I'm sorry, excuse me, the oil. So I see oil products. We'll say we're using olive oil. Kicks me with pesticides again. So this is a big deal when we're looking up these hazards, because we have to determine who's controlling these hazards. You're not controlling these if you're making the crust. The supplier is. What supplier? Well, the supplier at the getting the oils from the farm, right? So they have to do some kind of program over there. So we need to figure out who's best to control these hazards. So yeah, we got to look up the biological ingredient. We did that, table 1A. Got to look up the chemical ingredient. Went to 2A. 2A then told us no. Go to 2J, 2L, and any others that apply. Now we got to look at the process-related hazards. And I kind of got into that earlier, but I'll show you one more time. So for my pizza crust, I need to go through each one of these categories. So we're not cooking the pizza dough, so it's ready to bake. So number 1 wouldn't apply. Lethal treatment, no. Growth of toxic formation due to poor time temperature control. It's not ready to eat, but perhaps a toxin formation could apply there somehow. We have to take a look at that one. But yeah, probably that one. Growth and toxic formation due to poor formulation. No, I don't think that applies to us for the pizza crust. Growth and toxin production due to reduced oxygen package. I think we'll have low enough water activity, maybe not to worry about something like Listeria botulinum, but I'm not a pizza dough expert, but that's what we'd have to look at. Presence of due to ingredients after processing, that's not going to be the case. Pathogen introduced after processing. It's going to be ready to bake. There's probably nothing been introduced anyway, so presence of growth to toxic production due to recontamination, lack of container integrity. I mean, it's possible. I don't think would apply here at all to the type of product it is, ready to bake. Environmental pathogens, recontamination in the environment. It's going to be ready to bake. Not that Listeria and salmonella is okay, but it's going to be ready. It's going to get baked at 500 degrees, so not a significant one anyway. Now allergens kicks in here. Incorrect label for sure. Unintended allergen cross contact. Depends on the facility what else they're doing there, because we're just selling the dough. Maybe, but we're also maybe doing fully assembled pizzas that have a milk allergy, not milk allergen getting on just the dough. That could be a problem, right? Cross contact in that scenario. But just the dough, if we're only a dough facility, probably not, because the dough, not cross contact. Chemical due to I didn't add, and for this one I didn't have any chemical hazards. I mean, it was a basic dough, water, flour, water, salt, yeast, oil. Nothing of concern. It's not although it is a plant-based food, right? But it's not certain plant-based food, so it wouldn't apply. We're talking about those new food products, not pizza dough. Metal, glass, and hard plastic, perhaps, yeah, depending on the type of equipment and what we're doing. But what I'm trying to show you here is for the pizza dough, we'd have to go through each one. For your candied almonds, for your salad kit, for your bottled water, whatever you're doing, you got to go through these process-related hazards. So you see, it's quite a bit more intense than the 2018 version of the guide. So hopefully I made sense a little bit. And I just don't know why I did this. I thought it'd be good for you all to help you out a little bit. I was a bit set back by the new guidance. Check them out in the descriptions. Which one you like, let me know. Hey, thanks for listening. I appreciate you. Please subscribe if you want to get more food science, food law content. Have a great day.